So the next topic which we will be discussing here is about the coagulation of the blood, which is also known as the clotting of the blood. So here, what we will discuss is, first we will discuss the blood. That blood, it is a very important fluid in the human body that flows under a very high pressure through our veins, and it is essential for the proper functioning of the body. So if I talk about blood, it is about 90% water, inorganic salts, and proteins. So there are some traces of other substances as well. What are they? They are organic acids, they are pigments, they are enzymes, platelets, WBCs, RBCs, and various other enzymes that are present in the blood. So to prevent the vital blood is a significant loss of this fluid which may lead to death. So to prevent this, our body has an inbuilt clotting. It has an inbuilt clotting, which is the excess loss of blood from our body, which is being prevented. So that is known as the coagulation of the blood. So let's start with the first slide of this. That what is a blood coagulation or blood clotting? Coagulation is the process of forming the clots or thrombus in order to prevent the excess loss of blood from the body. So it is a gel-like mass which is formed by the platelets and fibrin in the blood. So if I talk about coagulation, then coagulation, it is the factors. They are the coagulation factors are the proteins. They are the proteins which is present in the blood plasma that helps in converting fibrinogens to fibrin. And that strengthen the platelet plug. Now, what are platelets? Platelets, they are the minute fragments. So they are the minute fragments of blood cells that helps in the formation of the clots in the body to stop the bleeding. So they play a very important role in the clotting or in the stop of the bleeding. So stoppage of the bleeding is because of the platelets. Now, what is the process of this blood coagulation? So the mechanism which helps the body to in order to prevent from a constant loss of blood, it is known as the homeostasis. So this process is known as the homeostasis, in which the body will prevent from the constant loss of blood. So there are these three steps which are being represented here. What are these three steps? First is the primary homeostasis, which involves the process of vasoconstriction, which responds to the injury of the body in the vascular wall. So whenever there is an injury, there is a primary hemostasis which comes into the picture. So once it is injured, the vascular walls will react immediately by reducing the amount of blood flow in the infected area. So this is the first process. The second is the platelets, which play a very key role in covering the injured area to stop the bleeding. So they also activate a process which forms fibrinin, which forms a clot which is called fibrinin, which is also called as the secondary hemostasis. So this leads to release of the stored granular contents, which contains the serotonin, ADP, and thrombopoxin, which results in the further activation of platelets in the blood plasma. So this was about the second step. Now about the third step. So in the third step, what is happening? Since the platelets, they could not cover the damages which is caused by the vessel walls, so a blood clot should be formed necessarily. So this formation of blood clots depending on several clotting factors which activates each other in the clotting cascade. So This cascade would result in the formation of the fibrinogen, which is a soluble plasma protein, and this fibrin protein finally stick together to form the clot. So in this way, the process of clotting takes place. Now, the next is, if the clotting does not take place, it may lead to several disorders. So what are these disorders? Hemorrhage, bruising, and thrombosis. So we will be discussing each of the three disorders in detail. So what are these? Hemorrhage. So hemorrhage is the bleeding, and this is simply blood loss, which is blood escaping from the circulatory system from the damaged blood vessel. So when there is a damage, the blood will not be clotted, so it will be released from the circulatory system, and it can be internal as well as external, either through a natural opening, for example mouth, nose, ear, vagina, or anus, or through a wound around the skin. So it can be occur through various ways or openings. So this is what is the first disorder of the coagulation. Next is bruising. So this is a picture which is representing the bruising part. So it is known as the contusion, which is a type of hematoma of the tissue. The most common cause being capillaries, which is damaged by the trauma. It will cause a localized bleeding. So here you can see there is a localized bleeding, and the black part here is the necrotic tissues into the, causing localized bleeding that aggravates into the surrounding intestinal tissues. So this is what the bruising is. Next is thrombosis. So you can see the picture here that is representing the thrombosis. So it is the formation of blood clot inside the blood vessel. So there will be a formation of blood clot inside the blood vessel, and they obstruct the flow of the blood through the circulatory system. So they will obstruct that flow through the circulatory system. So when a blood vessel, for example a vein or an artery, is injured, the body uses platelets. So the body will use platelets to clot that wound or wherever the injury has been taken place. So in the body uses platelets and fibrin to form clots to prevent the blood loss. So this is how the process of the coagulation works in the various disorders. So there is another serious condition that is also there, that is the deep vein thrombosis. So what is it? So in this particular condition, this is a serious condition where blood clot occurs in one or more deep veins of our body. So in most of the cases, the clot in the vein might dissolve, or they travel through the body stream and affect several organs like lungs, chest, thus blocking the flow of the blood. So that will leads to the blocking the flow of the blood. The most common symptom for this part is the pain in the muscle. So it will cause the pain in the muscle, swelling in the legs, but most times these clots might occur without any major symptoms. So they occur without any major symptoms. They usually occur due to the medical reasons or because of the less frequency of the body movement. So if there is a low frequency of the body movements, it can also cause these wounds or these thrombosis condition. So these are some of the references. Thank you.